Is the Nikon D7100 still worth buying today? My opinion, coming up.
Shall we?
We shall.
Now you might be wondering, is a Nikon D7100 a good camera still by today's standards? And what's so special about this crop sensor body and who is it for? Is it still worth buying a Nikon D7100 this year? Well, it certainly is worth considering. Here's a quick review of its specs. The Nikon D7100 is a mid-size SLR that weighs about 780 grams with a 24 megapixel resolution on an APS-C sensor. It also has auto ISO that goes from 100 to 6400 and can be boosted up to 25,600. The LCD screen is fixed and it's not a touchscreen. It is also, however, environmentally sealed with weather and dust resistance. Reasons to buy. It has a screw drive motor, which means the autofocus will work with older Nikon lenses. Ergonomics is at its best. It's excellent for landscape photography. It has good color rendition. The sensor is 24.71 megapixels, and there's an absence of a low-pass frequency filter, which means higher image detail. And reasons to avoid. Noise makes itself felt at a modest ISO value of anywhere between 400 and 1000. There is a small image buffer, which might be an issue for professional photographers or hybrid shooters. Remember to check the description box below for my full text-based review and the current deals. I list out everything I mentioned. Now, I think that the Nikon D7100 is an excellent mid-level crop sensor DSLR. It's perfect for those who care about quality, speed, the ability to shoot under adverse weather conditions, and its incredibly low price. The reasons why you'll love it are it's a camera you can grow into, it's able to autofocus with older Nikon lenses, and it has a great autofocus system with great ergonomics, just to name a few. More importantly, you get the best value for your buck. If you have basic photography skills, the set of features of this body can't but make you smile. As for the technical aspects of it, the camera outshines most of its competitors, including from its own line. In fact, the D7100 and D7200 models were so good that they had to be discontinued because the newer Nikon D7500 model wasn't selling as well. Without a doubt, the Nikon D7100 is a solid choice for photographers who are familiar already with the theory and practice of photography. So why is the Nikon D7000 series a great choice? A quick overview of this series lineup. The D7000 from 2010 is very cheap. The D7100 from 2013 crosses the $500 mark with a rather small buffer. The D7200 from 2015 is a bit more expensive but also has a bigger buffer. And the D7500 from 2017 is the most expensive one in the lineup and an official EISA award winner from 2017 to 2018. A lot of people, myself included, often recommend starting with the D3000 series or the D5000 series if you're a beginner photographer. However, if you can't spend more than $500 on your first DSLR and are looking for the best value, here are the reasons why you should consider the D7000 bodies. Number 1, you can grow into them. Basically, some people grow out of their D3400 or D5300 after a few months. The D7000 series gives you more room for growth if you don't plan on becoming a professional right now. Number 2, they have a screw drive motor. As I mentioned earlier, the D7000 series cameras have a screw drive motor, which means you're also able to use the autofocus with a lot of good old Nikon lenses. I also wrote a separate article on that you can check out in the description box below. And number 3, overall, it's better than their D5000 and D3000 counterparts. For example, there are more autofocus points and frames per second, it has a better autofocus system, a bigger buffer, and more dedicated dials and buttons on the body itself. If we compare the cameras, the D7000 bodies are a bit better in, well, everything. Only a relatively small image buffer can limit in the serious professional application of the D7100. Either way, many experienced photographers will agree that the D7100 is one of the good cameras out of the crop sensor ones. Nikon D7100 or the 7500 this year. Considering that the Nikon D7500 is available, is it still worth keeping your good old D7100 body? The truth is that there are indeed several upgrades on the D7500 model, such as having a higher burst rate, a faster autofocus system, higher dynamic range, ISO capabilities, and being slightly more lightweight. With this in mind, the question is if it's worth upgrading by someone who already uses the older model. Well, it depends on what type of photography you mostly do. If you're a casual shooter and don't need the extra speed, then you can definitely stick with the D7100 if it's still serving its purpose. However, if you are into like sports photography or if you're someone who often shoots in low light settings, then upgrading to a D7500 will certainly do wonders to your final images. So if you think you need the upgrades, then it will be a good investment to pick up the newer model. But if you're still achieving the results you want from the D7100, then you can still stick with it. Now, what if you are deciding between the D7100, D7200, and the newer D7500 model as a new user? In that case, I think it's worth considering the latest model. Here are the things that will lean you towards the Nikon D7500. A tilting LCD touchscreen, max ISO is 51,200 compared to 6,400, and continuous shooting is 8 frames per second compared to 6 frames per second on the older model. You can also control it remotely. It has better video capabilities and it's 45 grams lighter. It's a great choice, especially since you can buy it with 2 lenses under $2,000. As always, be sure to check the description box below for all the links. I list out everything I mentioned. Now back to the D7100. Without a doubt, it is an excellent crop sensor DSLR for all occasions with great ergonomics and excellent image quality. The Nikon D7100 is great in terms of price-quality ratio, especially suitable for those who already had worked with cameras at least from a low price range. Its main feature is the absence of a low-frequency filter, which traditionally serves to suppress the moire effect by forcibly reducing the detail of the image. Since this filter is removed from this model, nothing gets in the way of obtaining maximum image detail. Here are the sample images taken. A Nikon D7100 this year might be a great investment for you, especially if you're on a budget. Be sure to check the description box below to find the best deals available today. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What is your photography skill level? And if you've had experience with the D7100 camera, do you think it's worth buying this year? Please share your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.